These cats live in Norway. Smoothie and Milkshake. This is Milkshake. And their owner is just making a quick little video of them running. They're absolutely hilarious. Smoothie, the one that's more dark colored, is the most photogenic cat on Instagram. She has like 1 million followers. She's like 4 years old now. And look at her. She's a British long hair. And the guy that does this channel, it starts out when like she's a kitten, and then she gets to a certain age, and then so that's Smoothie, and then they get Milkshake. Look at this little like. So I'm going to put a link to this, but there's a couple things I thought I just kind of want to share with you. I'm also going to put a link to this one.
Anyways, lo and behold, there's a shadow coming out of the bottom of the canyon. The shadow, perfect, 100% perfect, outlined in the shadow of a giant earth monster, or the giant serpent. And it's huge. It's gigantic. And that's all in one picture. And that picture there puts me into a world within a world. And that's what really starts me on a big quest now. And
I found this last night. It just showed up in my recommendations, and the guy that has the channel, I'm going to put this in there. This guy has got just a ton of really interesting videos, and a lot of adventure stuff. So, but basically, I wanted to, let me see here. I got these two videos that I made. I got censored because of the music I'm playing in the background. So this one and this one. So that's why
they were printed by different companies.
And you can't even hardly hear the music in the background in this one, but it's Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And of course the other one was the Beatles.
And then there would be some that would be like comedies.
Because I kept wondering why these weren't showing up in my my videos, with all my everything that I've made. This is how I keep track of views and comments and stuff like that. And so anyway, I just want to do a shout out to
hello everybody. I tried to do a thank you card yesterday, but because
love you, Thunderjet. You're so funny. I love your laugh. You just I can't wait for your videos. I watch each one like over and over again. And this is another person I like to watch.
Hey
Dave Acton.
Hey now. Hey now, it's Dave. That sounds better than hey everybody. Hey now, it's Dave. Hey now.
And he lives out in Mount Shasta, and he's getting ready to climb the mountain. And so he talks a lot about, what he's going through, getting ready to climb the mountain, and just, how grueling it is. And then, hey Eric, how are you? I also watch. This is. Oh, where'd she go? It's waiting for this cat to have her kittens on a live stream. Pregnant feral cat. She's not there. Where'd she go? She must be out using the litter box or something. Yeah, I don't. And then I watch a whole bunch of things about Paul is dead. Like the whole controversy about Paul McCartney being dead. And then I love to watch, these things about creating Zentangles.
Welcome to this week's Zentangle Challenge with me, Laura Harms.
And this one, let me just
this week's challenge is to
put the mute on so you can watch this while I'm talking. So as much as I love cats, I also love dogs, and I have had, a couple of dogs in my life. And I had this dog named Daisy, and I got her as a little cute little puppy, and she looked just like that dog Benji, that used to have a TV show back in whenever, and little scruffy dog. And of course she was just absolutely adorable when she was a puppy. And so let me just maximize this so you don't see all that stuff over on the side there. But the problem with Daisy is she was a barker. So you put her out in the yard and it was just bark, 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 bark. And I was always like, Daisy, stop barking. I was like yelling out the door all the time to her, and probably really annoying the neighbors. And I mean, she did spend an awful lot of time in the house with us. And, and we just, love to have her around and everything. But man, you put her outside and it was just bark, 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 bark. I don't know what she was barking at. But so eventually I decided I just couldn't put up with this anymore. It was just like driving me crazy. So what I did is I put an ad in the paper, advertising I'm looking for a home for this dog, and did some descriptions about her and stuff like that. And then she got adopted by somebody that worked in the newspaper that saw the ad. I mean, that it was never even like published in the paper. This guy just he said, I got 3 kids, I got a fenced-in yard, this looks like the perfect dog for us. So she got adopted into a family with 3 kids, and it's like that's what she really needed. But I had this yellow Volkswagen convertible, and it was my all-time favorite car. And I had plenty of pictures of Daisy riding in the car with me, and she loved to go for car rides. You know how dogs are. So but I have to tell you the story about this car. It was like, I'm sure you've all had like your favorite car, and you give it a name, and and you take really good care of it, and it's like an extension of your person. It's like so every time I got in this car, it was just so much fun to drive. It was a 4-speed, and I could throw the top down on the car, and I could stop and pick up like furniture off the street that people were putting out. And because in those days I used to collect a lot of street furniture, and it was I lived in a neighborhood that had a lot of big Victorian homes in it, and people were constantly like cleaning out stuff, and older people that were passing away, and then the families would come and they would just like put like all these possessions and stuff out on the street, and they get picked over pretty good. But I found some real treasures and some really interesting pieces of furniture. So I just got the car paid off, and there was, geez, I've been made car, I don't know how many years I made payments on it. Maybe, in those days it was probably like a 3-year car loan. And so my sister and I decided that we were going to go camping down in Watkins Glen for the 4th of July. So we pack up stuff that we need to go camping, and we put the top down on the car. We're playing some tunes, and we're driving down through this small town called Canandaigua, and it's one of the Finger Lakes. So just as we're driving through that town, I'm going through a green light, and bam, all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, on the driver's side, in slow motion, it was like this thing just happened, like how time kind of like slowed down and stuff. Well, I was hit broadside by a police car. And it turned out that he smashed into the side of the car, bent the frame. I had my movie camera laying on the back seat. It flew out of the car, landed in the street, almost got hit by a car that was passing, through the intersection there. And my first thought was, oh my God, they're going to run over my movie camera. And my sister, we had our seatbelts on, of course, and her head hit the rear view mirror and knocked it off. So then here we are, we're like stopped in the road with this police car, that just smashed into us. And it turns out that I never heard the siren. And I think it was one of those things like he was coming up from the side, there were buildings. I'm going through a green light, and it's like he didn't even slow down to go through the intersection. I mean, I was in such shock. I just couldn't believe it. All of a sudden, here I am, hit broadside, by this police car. And luckily, we weren't injured any worse than we were. But he was on his way to an accident. And of course, the whole front end of his car was all smashed up. So he ended up taking us to the hospital. And, my poor car got towed over to a junkyard. And so they treated us for our injuries. And then he drove us all the way back to Rochester. It was like 35 miles. So here I am, stuck without a car, and ended up getting, something else that I had to make payments on. And it was okay, but it was a real lemon of a car, and I ended up trading it in after 2 years. And but it's just the strange twists and turns that go on in your life sometimes. So anyway, I'm gonna cut this off now and get those links in there. And I can't believe that they censored my videos because, well, I guess I'm going to have to be real careful now about what kind of music I play in the background.